wonder, are their children even real?
From 1688 to the present, all royal births have been incontrovertibly relied upon. This did not happen with Archie or Lilibet's birth. The two births are shrouded in secrecy. The monarch has a duty to ensure that there is no doubt as to the entitlement of each person who is closely in the line of succession.
Breaking royal drama. Royal fans are once again debating Meghan Markle after Candace Owens discussed long-running online rumours surrounding the Sussex family. Within minutes, clips from the discussion spread across social media, triggering thousands of reactions from supporters, critics, and royal commentators alike. But here's what made this story explode. It wasn't because any new evidence had been confirmed. It was because the discussion revived years of internet speculation that has repeatedly circulated online. Supporters of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle were quick to respond, pointing out that these rumors remain unverified and should not be treated as established fact. Others argued that Owens was raising questions that have fueled online debate for years. The internet instantly split into two camps. One side demanded proof. The other side urged people not to confuse speculation with facts. And according to royal commentators, that's exactly why the story exploded. Because whenever discussions involve Meghan, Harry, Archie, and Lilibet, social media activity skyrockets. Every opinion becomes a headline. Every reaction becomes another debate. Every clip gets shared millions of times. But here's the biggest question of all. Why does this topic continue resurfacing after so many years? Is it simply because of public curiosity? Or has the Sussex family become one of the most closely watched royal stories in the modern media era? In today's video, we'll break down what Candace Owens actually discussed, why the internet reacted so strongly, and why the debate surrounding Harry and Meghan continues to dominate royal conversations around the world. Crown police cars revolving light fire high voltage sign explosion symbol. The latest royal controversy erupted after Candace Owens discussed Meghan Markle and referenced long-running online speculation involving the Sussex family. Within hours, clips from the discussion spread across social media. Reaction videos appeared almost immediately. Royal discussion forums became flooded with comments. And before long, what started as one commentator's opinion had become one of the biggest royal conversations online. The reason the reaction became so intense is simple. Whenever Meghan Markle becomes the subject of a major public discussion, millions of people pay attention. Add Prince Harry, Archie, and Lilibet into the conversation, and the interest grows even larger. That's exactly what happened here. Then came the debate. Supporters of Meghan argued that the discussion was built around speculation that has never been verified. They insisted that rumors should not be treated as established facts without credible evidence. Meanwhile, critics argued that the topic continues resurfacing because public curiosity has never disappeared. The disagreement quickly divided social media. One side demanded evidence. The other side defended the Sussex family. Then another fascinating reality emerged. The story wasn't really about one interview. It became about something much bigger. Public trust. Media influence. Royal coverage. And how quickly controversial discussions spread online. According to media analysts, that combination almost guarantees enormous public attention. Then attention shifted toward the internet itself. Because according to commentators, social media rewards controversy. One opinion becomes thousands of reposts. One video becomes millions of views. One headline becomes a worldwide discussion. That's exactly why the latest comments spread so rapidly. Then came another important observation. Many people following the story weren't discussing new information. Instead, they were debating long-running internet rumors that have circulated for years. Supporters pointed out that no new verified evidence had been presented. Critics argued that public figures naturally face continued public scrutiny. Those opposing viewpoints kept the debate alive. Then attention returned to Meghan Markle. Because according to royal observers, Meghan remains one of the most discussed figures connected to the modern royal family. Every interview becomes news. Every appearance becomes news. Every opinion from a high-profile commentator becomes news. That's why Candace Owens' discussion immediately attracted worldwide attention. Then another theory started spreading across social media. Some royal watchers believe the biggest reason these stories continue trending is because the Sussex family remains one of the most polarizing subjects in modern royal coverage. Supporters and critics rarely agree. And whenever a new discussion appears, both sides quickly join the conversation. That's exactly what happened here. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The strongest reactions weren't really about Candace Owens. They were about Meghan. About Harry. About the Sussex family. Because years after stepping away from royal duties, they continue generating some of the biggest discussions anywhere on the internet. And according to commentators, that may be the biggest reason this latest controversy exploded so quickly. Crown Police car's revolving light fire high voltage sign explosion symbol. As Candace Owens' latest discussion continued spreading across the internet, royal commentators began asking a much bigger question. Why does every conversation involving Meghan Markle become global news? According to media analysts, the answer is surprisingly simple. Few modern royal figures generate as much public debate. Supporters defend her. Critics challenge her. Neutral observers follow every development. And when those three groups collide online, stories grow at an incredible speed. That's exactly what happened here. Then came another fascinating observation. The discussion quickly expanded beyond Candace Owens herself. People weren't only debating her comments. They were debating Meghan. Her public image. Her relationship with the royal family. The years of headlines that have followed her since joining, and later stepping away from, the monarchy. According to commentators, that broader context explains why the reaction became so massive. Then attention shifted towards social media. Because today's online world moves differently than traditional news. One clip becomes hundreds of reposts. One opinion becomes thousands of reactions. One debate becomes millions of views. That's why discussions surrounding Meghan often dominate trending pages within hours. Then another important reality emerged. Many royal watchers pointed out that the latest conversation did not introduce verified new evidence. Instead, it revived familiar online speculation that has circulated for years. Supporters of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle argued that repeating unverified claims doesn't make them factual. Others insisted that public curiosity keeps these topics alive regardless. That disagreement fueled another wave of online debate. Then attention returned to Meghan's public profile. According to analysts, she remains one of the most recognizable women connected to the modern royal family. Every interview receives international coverage. Every business project attracts headlines. Every public appearance sparks discussion. And every major opinion from a high-profile commentator becomes another viral story. That's why Candace Owens' remarks spread so quickly. Then another interesting pattern emerged. Many viewers weren't actually arguing about facts. They were arguing about perception. How the media covers Meghan. How social media amplifies controversy. How public opinion becomes increasingly divided. According to commentators, those discussions have become almost as significant as the original stories themselves. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The debate has gradually evolved beyond individual headlines. Today, almost every conversation involving Meghan also becomes a conversation about the media, about public trust, about online influence, and about how quickly narratives spread across the internet. That's why this latest discussion generated millions of reactions. Then another theory started gaining momentum. Some royal observers believe the Sussex family has become one of the most polarizing topics in modern celebrity culture. Supporters and critics rarely agree. Both groups remain highly engaged. And every new discussion immediately attracts worldwide attention. That's exactly what happened here. Because whether people supported Candace Owens' comments or rejected them entirely, they all contributed to making the story even bigger. And according to royal commentators, that's why Meghan Markle continues to remain at the center of some of the biggest royal debates anywhere on the internet. Crown police cars revolving light fire high voltage sign explosion symbol. As Candace Owens' latest discussion continued generating millions of views, royal commentators began asking a much larger question. Why does nearly every story involving Meghan Markle and Prince Harry become a worldwide debate? According to media analysts, the answer goes far beyond one interview or one controversial opinion. The Sussex family has become one of the most closely followed stories in modern royal history. Every public appearance creates headlines. Every business project sparks discussion. Every interview is analyzed from every possible angle. And every controversial opinion immediately becomes front-page news. That's exactly why the latest discussion spread so quickly. Then came another fascinating observation. The biggest reaction wasn't necessarily directed at Candace Owens. Instead, millions of people returned to the same broader conversation. Harry, Meghan, the royal family. Years of public disagreements. Years of interviews. Years of media attention. According to commentators, all of those events have created an audience that watches every new development closely. Then attention shifted toward online culture. Because today's internet rarely lets major stories disappear. Old discussions are constantly revisited. Previous interviews resurface. Past headlines begin trending again. Social media algorithms reward engagement. And according to analysts, few topics generate engagement quite like the Sussex family. That's why stories involving Harry and Meghan continue reaching enormous audiences. Then another important reality emerged. Many viewers pointed out that public opinion surrounding the Sussexes remains deeply divided. Some people admire Harry and Meghan for building an independent life outside royal duties. Others remain critical of their public decisions. Still others simply follow the story out of curiosity. Those three audiences create enormous engagement every time a new controversy appears. Then attention returned to Candace Owens. Because according to commentators, high-profile personalities discussing the royal family often guarantee widespread attention. Whether people agree with those opinions or reject them completely, the conversation grows. The debate grows. The audience grows. That's exactly what happened here. Then another interesting pattern appeared. The discussion gradually shifted away from specific claims and toward a larger issue. How should controversial claims be evaluated? Many supporters argued that extraordinary allegations require strong, verifiable evidence before being accepted. Others focused on broader questions about media coverage and public accountability. That disagreement fueled another wave of reactions. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The Sussex family is no longer simply a royal story. According to analysts, it has become a global media phenomenon. Royal news, celebrity news, social media, politics, entertainment. All of those worlds now overlap whenever Harry and Meghan make headlines. That's why discussions continue growing far beyond traditional royal audiences. Then another theory started gaining momentum. Some royal observers believe the biggest reason these debates never disappear is because the Sussex story remains unfinished. People continue wondering what comes next. Will relationships improve? Will new interviews happen? Will another major project reshape public opinion? Nobody knows. That uncertainty keeps millions of people watching. And according to commentators, that's exactly why the latest discussion became one of the biggest royal conversations on the internet. Crown police cars revolving light fire high voltage sign explosion symbol. As the online debate surrounding Candace Owens' comments continued to dominate social media, many royal commentators began focusing on a much bigger question. What if the biggest chapter of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's story hasn't happened yet? According to analysts, that's exactly why every new discussion attracts millions of viewers. Because despite years of headlines, interviews, documentaries, podcasts, and public appearances, the Sussex story still feels unfinished. Then came another fascinating observation. Public attention is gradually shifting. For years, the headlines focused almost entirely on Harry and Meghan. Today, more conversations are beginning to revolve around the future. The future of their family. The future of their public image. And especially the future of Archie and Lilibet. According to commentators, that's one reason discussions involving the Sussex family continue generating extraordinary interest. Then attention shifted toward legacy. Because many royal observers believe history rarely remembers people only for their biggest controversies. Instead, history often focuses on long-term impact. Families. Future generations. The decisions made over decades rather than days. That's why some analysts believe the Sussex legacy is still being written. Then another important reality emerged. The strongest reactions to Candace Owens' discussion weren't necessarily about agreement or disagreement. They were about curiosity. People wanted to know what comes next. Will Harry and Meghan respond? Will another commentator weigh in? Will the debate continue? That uncertainty helped keep the story alive. Then attention returned to Meghan Markle. According to media analysts, Meghan remains one of the most recognizable and closely watched public figures connected to the modern royal family. Every appearance attracts headlines. Every new project creates discussion. Every public statement generates analysis. That's why opinions about her continue spreading so rapidly across the internet. Then another interesting pattern became clear. Many people discussing the latest controversy weren't actually talking about one specific claim. Instead, they were discussing something much broader. Media coverage. Public trust. Celebrity influence. And how social media can transform opinions into worldwide debates within hours. According to commentators, that's become one of the defining characteristics of the Sussex story. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The Harry and Meghan story has evolved far beyond royal reporting. Today it sits at the intersection of celebrity culture, entertainment, media, and public opinion. That's why every major discussion reaches audiences far beyond traditional royal fans. Millions of people who don't normally follow royal news still become interested whenever a major controversy appears. Then another theory started gaining traction. Some royal watchers believe the next phase of the Sussex story won't be defined by another interview, or another documentary, or another public disagreement. Instead, they believe it will be shaped by time. Time changes public opinion. Time changes relationships. Time changes how history remembers people. That's why so many observers believe the most important chapters may still lie ahead. And according to commentators, that's exactly why discussions involving Harry and Meghan continue dominating the internet year after year. Crown police car's revolving light fire high voltage sign explosion symbol. As the debate surrounding Candace Owens' comments continued dominating social media, royal commentators began looking beyond today's headlines. Instead of asking what happened yesterday, they started asking something much bigger. What happens next? According to many observers, that's the question keeping millions of royal fans invested in the Sussex story. Because despite years of interviews, documentaries, business launches, and public appearances, many believe the story is still evolving. Then came another fascinating observation. Time changes everything. Public opinion changes. Media attention changes. Family relationships change. And according to royal analysts, history has repeatedly shown that even the biggest public disputes can look very different years later. That's why many commentators refuse to make absolute predictions. The future remains unwritten. Then attention shifted toward Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's next chapter. Some royal watchers believe future headlines will focus less on old controversies and more on new projects. Business ventures. Public appearances. Charitable work. Media partnerships. According to analysts, those developments may gradually reshape public conversations. Others disagree. They believe discussions surrounding the royal family will continue following Harry and Meghan wherever they go. Either way, interest remains enormous. Then another important reality emerged. The next generation is becoming a larger part of the conversation. Archie and Lilibet remain largely out of public view, yet public curiosity surrounding them continues growing. According to commentators, that curiosity isn't driven by constant appearances. It's driven by uncertainty. People wonder what paths they will choose, how they will view their family history, what role they may eventually play in the wider Sussex story. Those unanswered questions continue fueling discussion. Then attention returned to the media itself. Because according to analysts, today's news cycle moves faster than ever. One interview leads to another. One opinion creates hundreds of reaction videos. One controversy dominates headlines for days before the next major story arrives. That's exactly why discussions involving Harry and Meghan rarely disappear completely. They simply evolve. Then another interesting theory began gaining momentum. Some royal observers believe the Sussex story has entered a completely new phase. The first phase centered on leaving royal duties. The second focused on public interviews and major media projects. The next phase, they argue, may be defined by long-term legacy. How history remembers Harry and Meghan. How future generations view their decisions. And how public opinion changes over time. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. The strongest reactions to Candace Owens' discussion revealed something important. Millions of people remain deeply interested in what happens next. Not because everyone agrees, but because opinions remain sharply divided. Supporters continue defending the Sussexes. Critics continue questioning them. Neutral viewers continue watching from the sidelines. Together, those audiences ensure that every new development becomes another major conversation. Then another reality became impossible to ignore. The Sussex family has become one of the most discussed stories in modern royal history. And according to commentators, that probably won't change anytime soon. Because as long as new interviews, new projects, new opinions, and new public appearances continue appearing, worldwide interest will remain. That's why so many royal watchers believe the biggest surprises may still lie ahead. The story isn't over. It's simply entering its next chapter. Crown police car's revolving light fire high voltage sign explosion symbol. As the debate surrounding Candace Owens' comments gradually began to settle, many royal commentators reached one final conclusion. The biggest story isn't today's controversy. It's tomorrow's legacy. Because according to analysts, public opinion changes. Media narratives change. Headlines fade. But history often reaches its own conclusions years later. That's why so many observers believe the Sussex story is far from over. Then came another important realization. For years, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have remained among the most talked about public figures connected to the modern royal family. Their departure from royal duties, their interviews, their documentaries, their business ventures, their charitable work. Each chapter has generated worldwide attention. And according to commentators, every chapter has added another layer to a story that continues evolving. Then attention shifted toward legacy. Because many royal historians believe families are rarely remembered for just one moment. Instead, they are remembered for decades of decisions, relationships, achievements, challenges, and the impact they leave behind. That's why many analysts argue it's still far too early to reach final conclusions about Harry and Meghan's place in royal history. Then another fascinating observation emerged. The strongest reaction to Candace Owens' discussion wasn't universal agreement. It wasn't universal disagreement. It was continued curiosity. Millions of people wanted to know what happens next. Will there be another interview? Will another commentator respond? Will Harry and Meghan address future controversies? Or will they simply continue focusing on their own projects? Nobody knows. That's exactly why public interest remains so strong. Then attention returned to Archie and Lilibet. Because according to royal observers, future generations often reshape how history remembers entire families. Today's headlines focus on Harry and Meghan. Tomorrow's headlines may focus on their children. What paths will they choose? How will they define their own identities? How will history eventually view their family's story? Those questions remain unanswered. Then another reality became impossible to ignore. The Sussex story has become much bigger than traditional royal reporting. It's now part of global entertainment news, celebrity culture, media analysis, and online conversation. That's why every major discussion spreads so quickly across the world. Then came perhaps the biggest realization of all. No commentator, no headline, no viral video can determine how history will ultimately judge this story. That decision belongs to time. Time changes perspectives. Time reveals outcomes. Time often tells a very different story than today's headlines. According to many analysts, that's why patience matters. Because history usually waits until every chapter has been written. Then another theory gained support among royal watchers. Some believe the most significant Sussex chapter hasn't happened yet. Not another interview. Not another controversy. But the years ahead. The choices Harry and Meghan make. The projects they pursue. The legacy they leave. That's what many believe will ultimately define their place in history. And according to commentators, that's why millions continue following every development. Not because they already know the ending, but because the ending hasn't been written yet. Crown police cars revolving light fire high voltage sign explosion symbol. What do you think about the latest debate surrounding Candace Owens, Meghan Markle, and the Sussex family? Do you believe history will view Harry and Meghan differently than today's headlines do? And what role do you think Archie and Lilibet will eventually play in the Sussex legacy? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the latest royal family updates, breaking news, and exclusive analysis. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.